Hello. In this video, I will continue with the planning setup. I'm going to be explaining the Gantt chart entry table columns. Now, the Gantt chart, if you remember, is the first pane or the left pane that you see on the Gantt chart view. And it is called the Gantt chart entry table because the table that is used is the entry table. If we take a look at the view menu here, it will tell us that the entry table is selected. And the entry table has a few columns that Microsoft Project displays on the left-hand side by default. Just a couple of columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 columns. So I'm going to start by just selecting a regular project file, in this case, project 1, because I just selected file new, meaning a new project. And I'm going to type here, task 1. I'm going to hit enter. Task 2, just to convey a message, and task 3. So what happens, as I indicated earlier, that when you type in a task, you would type a duration, but by default, Microsoft Project gives you a 1-day duration to start with. And notice that immediately on the right-hand side, it forms a horizontal bar to represent the duration, meaning 1 single day. On the left-hand side, you have an ID column showing the row numbers for the task. So 1 is for task 1, row number 2, and row number 3 here. You also have an indicators column represented with an eye and a bubble. Displays indicators that gives different types of information about a task or resource. So typically, Microsoft Project adds some indicators on this column, which we will see later on. Task mode is basically to display the type of task that you're using, either automatic or manual. This particular icon represents an automatically scheduled task. So it has a bar similar to the Gantt chart bar here with an arrow to the right. So that is an automatic task, and we will review the different types of tasks later on. The next column is the task name. Here's where you type your task names. The next column is the duration column. As I indicated, I didn't have to type anything. By default, Microsoft Project gives you a total of 1 day with a question mark. The question mark represents an estimated duration. So you don't have to do anything, just type in, and the system automatically provides you with the start date for that task and the finish date for the task, representing the date or today's date or the project start date. But because I'm taking just a regular project file, it defaults to today's date. Start and finish columns, as you could see, is the same, equals to the same, and that represents the 1-day duration. Predecessors, this particular column is used to display tasks that precede the current task. We're going to see that later on, forming a relationship. Resource names column, here is where you would type in or display the resources that will be working on a task. And then the add new column is used to add new columns, though a column can be added anywhere, not necessarily here after the resource names. You can just right-click anywhere to be able to add a new column.